Hi, this is Keith with How to Build Your Own Home, and I have a couple questions from subscribers, and I figured I'd take a moment to answer some of those questions. All right. First question is from Arthur Pratt. Hey, Arthur, and he asks a question. I love your videos. It would be great to see you do a video on ICF homes. I'd like to maybe do that in the future sometime. However, I'm not a fan of ICF homes, which means insulated concrete forms, where you have a styrofoam basically, and you stack it like Legos, and then you put rebar in there and you pour concrete. My reasons for not liking ICF is because I don't like the foam on the outside and the concrete on the inside. I'd rather reverse that, which is why I like OmniBlock, and I've given some links of that company. It's just the opposite. You basically stack them like a regular masonry block, and then you insert styrofoam inside the block. The benefit is you've got a rigid structure on the outside, not a soft foam on the outside. You've got a rigid structure. You can literally put a gray coat of stucco. You can actually affix a siding to the outside. And on the inside, there's no shimming, there's no build out, there's no anything. You literally can mud the inside wall, no drywall at all. So I like technologies that lessen the number of labor hours that are required to put up a structure. And I haven't seen ICF be able to do that just yet. It's great. I think it takes too much concrete on the infill. I like less concrete if possible, because that would save some money. But I still would like to build an ICF home. I've been to job sites with them. I just haven't been willing to adopt it. One of the reasons why a lot of builders are slow to adopt some technologies is because they're stuck with some of the labor skills in their area. And here we haven't really done a lot of ICF in our area. I live in a high desert, very dry climate, and we don't need a lot of insulation because we have a very mild climate. I know in some northern climates it's a big plus. I have built with aerated concrete before, which is very lightweight blocks, 4 feet long by about 10 inches thick, and I've built with those before. That they took up a lot of concrete. Whenever you think about the ICF or anything that has a structure that you put up and you pour concrete in there, ask yourself how much concrete is really taking up. If you look at the International Building Code, it doesn't necessarily require a lot of concrete, just rebar and concrete for that rigid structure, and you'll have rebar every so often horizontally and every so often vertically, and you need just about 2 inches or so of concrete around that rebar. And I've seen some ICFs and I've seen aerated concrete block, and I've seen about 6 inches around a rebar of concrete. That's just a lot of concrete, kind of unnecessary. The other thing I haven't been too impressed with is I like thermal breaks in my wall structure, and it's kind of hard to explain, but I've given that explanation on some previous videos. The OmniBlock is the best thermal break design for that kind of a wall structure where you have concrete and rebar basically as your structure with some inserted foam in the middle. Anyway, it doesn't mean that I'm poo-pooing it. It's just my thoughts on the design. Again, if you have thermal breaks and you can have your insulation inside the wall, not on the outside, you have a rigid structure to fix things a little better. Some of the things that I look at with regard to ICF. Anyway, that's my response on that one. Keith, do you think, this is from VSAR. VSAR asks this question. Do you think if you found someone time, could you do a video about owner builders, meaning strictly foundation, electrical, plumbing being contracted out? This is something I would really stress for owner builders. The biggest hurdle they have is the envelope of the home, the excavation, the concrete footings, and the build of the structure, the framing and whatnot. If you were to just subcontract out those only and do the rest yourself, you're doing yourself a great service, because you're not having to deal with the headache of doing something you really, really, really are not skilled at. A lot of people can maybe put down flooring and paint and do the finish work and stuff like that. So I strongly suggest subcontracting everything and save on the contractor fee. That way you're really not running the risk of making some mistakes. But if you do have some skill sets in some areas, emphasize those skill sets and do those skills. But yeah, I've actually mentored some owner builders where they actually hire a contractor just to get them to mechanical inspection. Mechanical inspection means all the way from framing concrete all the way into electrical, plumbing, and heating and air. And then they take it from there. Excuse me. I've seen a lot of owner builders be willing to do that. I'll tell you why. Because that's where they make most of their money. General contractors make most of their money up to mechanical inspection. They don't necessarily make their money on finish, carpeting, paint, and even insulation. They make their money on the big items there. I've actually helped one client where I decided, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll get you to mechanical inspection, and they take it from there. And it was a savings of $11,000 for that particular client. And it wasn't anything off my back. I was happy to help them out. Ask around. Maybe builders are willing to help you out and give you a savings of $10,000, $15,000 by not taking it all the way. They may still want to put their name on it. They may still want to be there to watch, and they'll take the draws and submit them to the bank. But ask around. Some of them might be able to do that. The next one's for Tyler. Tyler Palermo. I hope I said that right. Tyler asks, can you do a video about the financing side of the project? It would be good to understand how money moves around on projects for owner builders. And basically, here's how it kind of works. Let's say I'm at a job site and I've got a loan, and it's a construction loan. I've got my contingencies, I've got my budget, everything's set. The bank will release a draw about twice a month, and you'll submit a draw request, and that draw request will have an itemized list numbered in each category. Let's say plumbing is line item 26. So when I have an invoice come in, I will submit a draw, and on each draw that I submit, I will identify where I'm pulling that money in the budget. So if I'm submitting a draw, and in that draw I have a plumbing invoice, I'm going to attach that to the plumbing line item list, which is line item 29 or 26 or 22. And then they will pull from that line item. And that happens twice a month. And then before they release the check, they'll drive out and say, okay, you just had a lumber package that we paid for. They'll drive out and see that, yeah, that there's lumber on the site. They want to make sure that the material's here, that the project is proceeding according to a basic known schedule. They're not going to ask a schedule, but they want to see that it's progressing. And more banks are submitting checks. Some of them have lien waiver checks. Some of them are actually submitting and sending the checks out themselves. They're not sending the money directly to a general contractor or even to the owner builder. They're sending the money directly to the line item, meaning the invoice or the receipt that was submitted. They'll submit it directly to that person or that subcontractor. That's basically the flow. In my program I have online at How to Build Your Own Home, I actually walk you through that in a lot more detail. I offer some draw sheets, a full Excel budget to work from, a lot of structure and organization to help you with that process. So I hope that answers that question for you. Last one here. This is from Samuel P. He says, how can an aspiring owner-builder work around touchy city regulations on building your own home? Beyond the GC insurance, they're asking for references and examples of previous built homes. Now, most states, in fact, I don't know of a state in the country that exists that doesn't allow you to be an owner-builder. Most of them do allow you to be an owner-builder. Some jurisdictions, some small cities, or some metropolitan areas, they actually put a little caveat in there that they love to have a GC on board or a consultant or something like that. I've run into just 2 or 3 situations like that with students, and I've run into a situation like that with a client up north. He wanted to own or build. He found me and wanted to be a mentor and a consultant on the project. And so the best way to approach a city is you say, I am managing my own build. I'm not doing any of my own build. I am subcontracting everything. I'm just replacing the general contractor. And so that should take an edge off the city, because the city sees, oh, great, you're not going to do the work. Because they know from experience that some owner builders can try to DIY everything and do a DIY biscuit head move and try to do something they don't have any skill in and make a lot of mistakes. That's what their real issue is. And so if you can talk with a city or a building department, whether it's county or city, and tell them that you are managing the build, you're not doing the build. If you can keep up with that, you can be honest about that. That should help out quite a bit. I just created a letter in my program at How to Build Your Own Home, and if they purchase a package that I offer, which is the self-managed package, I actually have a letter that I drafted that you can actually submit that to the city. And this is a letter that indicates the program you're involved in, how it teaches you budgeting, how it teaches you scheduling, how it teaches you checklists and watch, and how to talk with subcontractors, how to hire subcontractors, a lot of that process, so that you're actually better informed on the process of construction than most owner builders could ever imagine. And even you're probably better informed and better prepared than even a lot of general contractors. In fact, I'm actually mentoring 2 people to become general contractors right now. And that's the program that I offer. So at least you can tell the city or the building department that you don't plan to do any of the work yourself, or cleaning and maybe landscaping, or the thing that you have a particular skill in. Just indicate that you're actually subcontracting out to subcontractors. The last thing they'll want to know is, do you have it properly insured? Are you bonded? And you can typically go to a local insurance agent and ask them about insurance for a project, how much the project is going to be. They'll want to see a budget, and they'll insure you for that amount. And a lot of cities will ask either for liability or a bond to make sure that the project is going to cover, in case something happens, it will get finished. They don't want to see a project not get finished. Anyway, I answered a couple of questions. I hope that helps you out. If you have any questions, please post them in the video. On any video you have witnessed here on my channel, and I cut and paste those and I save those, and about every month or so I'll pull them out and answer those questions. If not, I'll answer them right there. I check those questions every morning and every evening. Thanks for watching. This is Keith Kelch with How to Build Your Own Home.